Video game Easter eggs can come in all shapes and sizes. They could be as small as a post-it note as seen in Hitman 3, or as large as this giant rabbit we discovered recently in the first tree. Now, one thing that a lot of video game Easter eggs have in common is just how strange some of them are. So, join me today as we take another look at some of the wackiest, scariest, weirdest, and downright strangest Easter eggs video games have to offer. As always, if you think you know of an Easter egg that would have been perfect for this video, then the best places to let me know are in the comments section or on my social media accounts, the links to which are in the description. Oh, and if you do go on to enjoy this video, then clicking the like button is really appreciated. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. So the first game to leave us all confused is Fear Extraction Point. Extraction Point is an expansion for Fear, a psychological survival horror first-person shooter that was released in 2005, with the Extraction Point expansion releasing the following year. Now, the Easter egg experts among you will already know of a pretty strange Easter egg that can be found in the base game, by repeatedly trying to open this door. So yeah, that is pretty strange. However, during Chapter 5 of Fear Extraction Point, you can find this. So to be honest with you, I don't know what's scarier, a small disappearing child or a rather large gentleman enjoying a dance. I'll let you guys decide. Speaking of creepy girls, the next game to leave us with more questions than answers is Please Don't Touch Anything 3D. Before being left alone in a room, you're told not to touch anything. But come on. Look at this red button, it's begging to be pressed. From then on, several different events can take place depending on what you do next. For example, if you flip the red switch, this will happen. As I said, dropping a nuke is just one of the many different outcomes in this game. Now, if we can detonate a nuke just by flipping a switch, I wonder what will happen if we grab a hammer, smash the clock on the wall, and turn all of the clock's hands to 6, a reference to the number of the beast, 666. Well, I guess we better find out. So, as you might have guessed from a video about strange and unexplained Easter eggs, I have no idea who that was. You can get a better look at the mysterious figure by turning around really slowly and not looking her in the eyes. But she's got one hell of a poker face, so it seems we'll be left wondering who she really is. So, Mafia Definitive Edition is a pretty serious game, with its aim to show you what it may have been like to be involved in organised crime. Now, just because the life that your character leads is one filled with revenge, double-crossing and romance, doesn't mean that the other citizens of the fictional Lost Heaven aren't also out living their best life. Take the Saint and the Sinner mission for example. As you make your way through the hotel, mowing down anyone foolish enough to get in your way, you can find this.
It's not what it looks like.
Okay, listen, I'm not into kink shaming. As long as it's legal, you do you. But here's a bit of advice, take it or leave it. If your kink is dressing up as a clown, make sure that you're never left tied to a chair whilst a mafia goon shoots the place up. As I said, take it or leave it. So some of my favourite Easter eggs in video games are the Easter eggs that cause games to end abruptly. Things like Catwoman leaving Batman behind in Batman Arkham City, for example.
Screw him.
Well, in Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered, yes, that is how it's spelt, you can end the game roughly 1 minute after it started. After being fed some backstory by your brother, he tells you to take out the nearby buildings, which, thanks to the game's great destruction physics, actually looks and feels really damn cool. However, if you decide that you just can't forgive your brother for stealing the toy out of the cereal box when you were kids, you can do this. Okay, so it may be a bit over the top, but I bet he won't be stealing any more toys anytime soon. So when I ask you to think of creepy video games, what comes to mind? Outlast 1, Resident Evil 7, Dead Space? Well, I bet none of you thought of Watch Dogs 2. And with good reason. Watch Dogs 2 gives off a goofy, fun vibe, so it's never going to be a game that scares you, right? Well, if you head to the hackerspace and use Watch Dogs 2's version of Detective Vision, creatively called NetHack, you will be able to hear this. I don't know what it is about children laughing, but it's just so creepy. Again, like with all of the Easter eggs in this video, no explanation has ever been provided as to why this happens. I've even attempted to email some of the guys that worked on Watch Dogs 2, but I haven't had much luck in the way of answers, or in most cases, even a response, so this one's a mystery. Speaking of creepy kid laughs, let's briefly pay a visit to Verdansk. Now, similar to Watch Dogs 2, Call of Duty Warzone is probably the last place you'd expect to be spooked. Sure, you may run into the odd zombie or see a brief glimpse of a horror movie killer at Halloween, but that's usually it. Well, that's kind of what makes this next find so strange. At this campsite, before the Warzone map was changed, you could hear this. So once again, the sound of children laughing. Again, I'm going to be pretty useless here as I have no idea why this laugh can be heard. If any of you guys have any ideas, then please leave them in the comments. So our penultimate Easter eggs are thankfully far less spooky. Pipe BMX is a physics-based BMX experience built for the BMX community designed to simulate realistic BMX motion. Well, at least that's what the Steam page says. So given the supposed emphasis on realism and physics, Pipe BMX is probably the last game to have some weird Easter eggs hidden away. Well, if you can manage to hop the fence and head to this tree, you can find this. So your super serious BMXer is now wearing a cone on his head. Oh, and that's not all. If you follow the patches of grass found nearby, you can switch up your bike for something with a little more style. Okay, so I have to give the developers credit here. Despite riding around on a chicken, this still feels like realistic BMX motion, so at least they weren't lying. So the final Easter egg that will hopefully leave you scratching your head can be found in the sword-swinging simulator, Mordhau. Now Mordhau is no stranger to strange Easter eggs, with a request to send nudes and this guy having featured on the channel before. But the cool thing about this Easter egg is that it's practical. Well, sort of. On the map Crossroads, you can find this. Yeah, it's just a carrot that is pretty much useless. Notice how I said pretty much though, and not entirely, because it can cause damage, it just does so very, very slowly. Oh, and quick tip for anyone wanting to wield the power of the carrot for themselves, if you turn foliage density down to low, it will be much easier to find. For example, here is the carrot with ultra foliage, and here it is when foliage has been set to low. Don't say I never help. So that's it. If you enjoyed this video, then leaving a like is really, really appreciated. If you are a fan of Easter eggs and secrets in games, then perhaps consider subscribing, as that's what this channel is all about. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll speak to you all soon.